Hi, welcome to Lean DUS. This is a very special edition together with the team from PO Dojo today. They're going to do some interactive work with you today after my talk about Lean Startup without the startup. I hope you have a great day, and I hope you like the food and the beer and maybe the non-alcoholic beverages. I'm going to start right away, and then I'm going to introduce you to the team from PO Dojo, and we'll have a little, I'll just start. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to talk about Lean Startup without the startup today. That is a topic that had a profound impact on the work I'm doing here at sipgate in the last couple of months. My name is Stefan Lange-Hegermann. I'm the product owner for sipgate.io and verrät, which are both products which are a little outside of the products we have had before, like sipgate Team and sipgate Basic. And I'm going to talk about how we in this organization made sure we were able to build products that are more startup-y than what we did before. sipgate is 15 years old, so we are not a startup anymore, although it might look like it sometimes. Let's start. Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is stay away from your customer base. That is a topic that might sound weird at first. When you have a customer base of a significant size, you might tend to sell your new products into that customer base first because it seems very easy to get to those customers. You just can send them an email or things like that. You might want to do that. You might want to talk to your existing customers, but you should never fall into the trap to make them your reference customer. That's what I'm going to be talking tonight about. Whatever. Okay, I'll start with this quote that illustrates the dilemma. It's actually from An Innovator's Dilemma by Clay Christensen. I recommend this book. It's an amazing business book, and I think it's one of the basic business books you should all be reading. What he's saying is blindly following the maxim that good managers should keep close to their customers can sometimes be a fatal mistake. And I assume you all read The Lean Startup by Eric Ries, where he says we must learn what customers really want, not what they say they want or what we think they should want. So this sounds like it doesn't fit together, but you need to make sure to look at what they say exactly. And Christensen says, just go back, good managers to their customers. That means he's talking about customers in an enterprise environment, about existing customers on a sustaining product. What Eric Ries does, he's talking about a completely different environment. He's talking about startups. Startups work differently, not just to the outside, but on the inside. So how do we fit this together? How do we get this to work together? And here's what that means. You should never make your old personas your new personas. A startup only works with new personas, with new customers, and they have a completely different approach. They don't have a customer base to that they sell it. Well, some do, if you limit your customer base, but never limit your customer base to the customers you had for your old product. Be aware that by talking to your existing customers, you learn what you can improve on your existing products. You will never learn what you can do to redefine your market or your field. So always talk to new people and people you don't know and that don't use your product and maybe even don't know your product. So here's how we do it at sipgate. We build a product for everyone. Did any one of you have a first generation iPod, the first one Apple released? Well, that thing only worked with Apple computers. So to say, Apple sold into their existing customer base. So that's what we are doing with sipgate.io. We are trying to sell it into our existing customer base right now, but while we do it, we are always talking to customers who have never been sipgate customers. We invite customers to our house, and we're talking with them here, and we're doing post-its on the wall and ideate what they want to do with their product, and so that we find a way to build a product that is very good for new customers. We actually sometimes don't even talk to our existing customers and just tell them, here's a cool product. What we see is that many of them just want to use it because it's cool, not because they have been using our old product. So this is pretty similar to the first iPod, which Apple did sell just to Mac users, and then they extended that to Windows. The second thing I have is ignore established revenue streams. It is hard. If you start a new product in a sustaining company, you usually start pretty hard with high expectations. But you need to be aware that you always have to scale your product relative to your market. So if you start with a small market, which you do with a startup product, you should always be sure that if you sell your product to a new market, you start off from a blank canvas. Don't think that on day one you can make the same amount of money with a single customer you can make with a single customer on your old product. So here's another example from Apple. I just added the Apple examples because my colleague Corinna asked me after I showed her the talk, what about Apple? I mean, you always say, literature usually says it's impossible to build a new disruptive product in a sustaining company, and Apple does this. And I think Jonathan Ive in this thing, just in this quote, said it exactly why that works, and that is Apple's goal is not to make money. Well, some people say that is impossible. I mean, there's no one who's making more money than Apple. But why are they doing that? Because their goal is to design and develop and bring to market good products. And that is the first thing you should always have in mind. Build good products, because they will come. That's what he says. That means build better products instead of more profitable ones. Don't look into the revenue stream. Don't look into what you make with a single customer right now. Look into what you want to do, have a vision, and work on that vision. And work on that with as many possible customers as you can see, as you can get hold of. Okay, how do we do that at sipgate? Well, this is just an example how we do it, but I think it's a pretty good one. We have independent product with independent pricing. We have sipgate.io, which is right now, you can book as an extension to sipgate team. But it has a completely different pricing models that confuses the customers of sipgate team. We could have said, well, we have those customers, we don't want to confuse them, we have to get a pricing model that they understand. The problem is they learned the pricing model from sipgate team, which is a tiered model with like 3, 5, or 10 customers or more. And we just added a completely new pricing model to sipgate.io, which has nothing to do with that. The only thing that is pretty common, and that is because most people outside who are not sipgate customers understand it, is that we charge them by the minute. Okay, the next thing we have is don't fear to disrupt your own market. That is also one of the things you might tend not to do because, I mean, you have this new product, which if you did it like I said before, might not have as much revenue as the old product has. And why would you do it? And that's pretty easy, actually. It is because if you don't do it, someone else will do it. There will be a product which takes away your customers. The average life cycle of a product is right now about 20 years. So if you build something, be aware that it will not last forever. sipgate is 15 years old, as I said, so we have to work on it. So it's better to have 50% of your customer profits than to have none. That's what this says. Don't let others build the next big thing. Be the one who builds the next big thing. The next big thing does not mean you make more money with every customer. It might mean you have way more customers. Next one. Okay, doesn't work. Yeah. So what do? We avoid forcing our customers into combining products. We want to offer a product which they can use in our existing products, but what we don't do is we don't force them to use our existing products. We would just crush our customer base if we would do that. There would be just all the customers from sipgate team and maybe 1 or 2 or a little more customers who come to sipgate team because of sipgate.io, but we don't want that to be the thing that drives us. We want to drive sipgate.io, which is the new product, and maybe one day replaces sipgate team for many customers. Okay, here's the last one. Your organization sucks. And it does, in being a startup especially. Maybe some of you might think your organization sucks in general, but it specifically sucks in being a startup. In fact, it's not a bad thing for a company to suck as a startup. I mean, there are many examples of companies that are huge and that work well and that make more profits every year, but they usually don't make new products. They might buy other companies, try to do that. I mean, you have seen many examples like Yahoo, which is a company which has been disrupted massively by Google. They are buying like crazy, but everything they buy just gets sucked into the company and it just vanishes. So here's a nice one. It is from The Lean Enterprise. There are two books. One's called Lean Enterprise, the other's called The Lean Enterprise. I would recommend The Lean Enterprise. I haven't read the other one though. And it is most employees are motivated by a desire for security, praise, and opportunity to work on projects that interest them. If you just don't find yourself in that and you're working in a company, think about starting your own startup. On the other hand, entrepreneurs are motivated by autonomy and achievement. So this quote illustrates a bit why people who are great for a sustaining organization, and they might be the best employees of that organization, but you wouldn't want to run a startup with them because they have other motivational factors for what they do. This one is again from An Innovator's Dilemma from Clay Christensen. Maintain competitive intensity in the mainstream while simultaneously trying to pursue disruptive technology. The evidence is strong that such efforts rarely succeed. Well, it doesn't fit into this slides and that point that much, but I wanted to keep it in because it is so important to know that. What he basically says is it's impossible to do what we try to do inside of a sustaining organization. But we believe that by continuous improvement and getting better at what we do, and by having the products in the background that keep us alive, we can reach a point where we get over that. I mean, like I said, Apple is an example for a company that did that. Late, they have been disrupted at least once. Yeah. That means you can't disrupt from inside a sustaining company. But how do we get over that? So what we try is we give the team autonomy. The team decides about the pricing. The team decides about the customers. The team decides about marketing. That is something we have not reached yet fully, but we are on the way to do it. We try to have like management of the company involved as advisors. I mean, they have seen many things. They have started a startup. They have disrupted a market. So they are great advisors, but usually you should take their input and not just do what they say. Yeah, that's where we are. But what about Apple again? Look at this article, Apple and the Innovator's Dilemma by Ben Thompson. Damn, I tried to remember how to say that domain, stratechery.com. It's from 2010, but it's still the best article you can find on the internet, why Apple has overcome the innovator's dilemma in a way. Here are the other books. Eric Ries's Lean Startup. I mean, many of you should have read it. Owens and Fernandez, The Lean Enterprise, the one I mentioned. If you want to know more about the things I've been talking about tonight, you should read The Lean Enterprise. They have a concept they call innovation colonies, and it's actually pretty cool. Then there's Clay Christensen's Innovator's Dilemma, which everyone should have read. Just simply, everyone should have read it. And for people who like novels, I would recommend Makers by Cory Doctorow. It's actually, I mean, Cory Doctorow is one of my favorite authors, and he's a tech guy and a pretty good novel author, so just read it, it's cool. It's about how an old company gets bought and is turned into an incubator of sorts. Okay, the last slide, lunch.sipgate.de. I recommend you go to that site, register to meet us, have lunch with us. It's all free. We want to talk to you about the topics you like to talk about, and we want to meet you, and we want to eat with you, and we want to show you what we're doing, and would be happy if you come to meet us. That's it. My name is Stefan Lange-Hegermann. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can watch the Periscope feeds recording after this talk, but we will also have a better recording. Okay, that was mine. Thank you.